may not be alone.
This episode is brought to you by some amazing people. Patrick O'Leary, Marcel Gouffonian Metalhead, Nutslap, Tabin Rice. Welcome to the show. Living Life Consciously with Hello Allie, Gemini Moon, Space Baby, Mythoclast, Ray B, Gene G-Force Star, Moody Mongol, Lisa B, Fur 3 Norm, Grey Wolf, and Joanne, Shelley Montgomery, Aaron's Energy 313, Multifaceted Jules, Eric Booth, The Diz Loki, Nathan from the Quantum Show, Gary T, T-Bone, Richard and Fern Harrison, Eddie Tab, Mecca Mickey, Diane Boss, and Jeanette Angel. And a special thank you to all of our subscribers on YouTube, Spotify, and now on Rumble. If you wish to support the podcast, you can hit that join button below to become an Eyes to That Sky member. Or if you want to join the Patreon or to provide other support, the links are below in the show description. But now, on with the show. Welcome to the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast, where we explore the unexplained and mysterious phenomena that have occurred throughout the state of Michigan and beyond.
From UFO sightings to ghostly encounters, we delve deep into the stories, the evidence, and the theories behind these strange events.
We are your hosts. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Wayne.
We are an educator duo that after an encounter with a triangular UFO in 2018 in Michigan, we decided to investigate UFOs and the paranormal. In this podcast, we will be speaking with eyewitnesses, experts, and researchers to uncover the truth about some of the most intriguing cases of paranormal activity in and around Michigan.
Our goal is not to convince anyone of the existence of these phenomena, but rather to provide a platform for discussion and exploration. So, buckle up and join us on this journey down the paranormal rabbit hole.
On an escalator.
All right. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hey, everyone.
Hopefully everyone is doing well. It is Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, and we're coming to you from deep within our bunker once again in the shadow of the great Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. We want to thank you for joining us for this special episode with Joshua Shapiro, author of the book Journey with the Crystal Skull Explorers. So this is going to be a great show tonight, and we're really excited to bring Joshua on in just a few minutes. But first, you guys know we have to do some quick announcements.
Guys, remember, if you have a story that you would like to share with us, or if you simply need to email the show, please do so at mi.ufo.podcast@gmail.com.
All right. And that is right. And also, if you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so with PayPal, Super Chats, buy us a coffee. You can check out our merchandise store or join the Patreon. All of those links can be found below in the show description. If you do decide to become a member of the YouTube group, which is awesome, or a Patreon member, you will get a shout out during the intro and be listed in the credits at the end of the show as a thank you for your support.
I know it's time for me to redo that intro.
Yeah, it is.
This is going to be the week.
35 members now.
This is our spring break, so
and we'll get it done.
Yep. So remember, don't forget to not just hit the like button, but smash the like button.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also don't forget to share us out.
And hit that subscribe. And speaking of hitting the subscribe button, do you know that 51% of you watching us right now or our save shows are not subscribed? It helps us out a lot if you could just hit that subscribe button for us. And if you like our content, hit that notification bell so you will be alerted when we go live or post new videos. And so Michelle's really liking this part. For every new subscriber we get for the next month, Michelle gets another 5-minute shoulder massage.
I like that.
So we just add on 5 minutes to her shoulder massage, and yeah, so I know I'm going to end up with arthritis at this point. So, all right, Michelle, what's up next?
You'll be okay. So
I'm gonna be
next week,
crippled.
are you ready for this? So March 30th, 2025, we will be having on Alex and Dave from Brothers of the Arcana.
Yeah.
And we'll be diving into Freemasonry, Knights Templar, the occult, and esotericism. We absolutely can't wait to have this conversation with those guys.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. So we see we got a lot of people in chat right now. Michelle, who do we've got out there?
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I got to start out with the birthday boy. Tabin's here. Happy birthday, Tabin.
Yeah.
So,
oh, and a special shout out to Mark Eddy, who has helped bring us together with a lot of guests. And tonight's guest is also one of those. So thanks, Mark, for letting us meet and be able to bring on Joshua Shapiro tonight. So,
we
yeah.
also have Blue Crossroads with us tonight. We've got Gary with us tonight, Diane Boss. Aaron's Energy is also with us. Nathan from the Quantum Show. Lance is with us tonight. Straw Dog is hanging out with us tonight. I'm looking. I never trust that one button that I can click.
Yeah, who's participating.
Rick Davis is with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't changed his name to try to fool me.
Right. Yep. So it looks like we got our normal people in chat. So
let's have
go
our
on.
others trickle in. So
yep,
we'll say hi to those folks when they come
So Michelle, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about our guest tonight?
Well, about Joshua Shapiro. Tonight we welcome Joshua, a renowned researcher, author, and explorer of one of the world's greatest mysteries, the crystal skulls. So Joshua's journey began in 1983 when he encountered an amethyst crystal skull, sparking a lifelong passion for uncovering their secrets. As co-founder of Crystal Skull Explorers alongside Katrina Head, he has traveled the globe investigating these enigmatic artifacts, exploring their connections to lost civilizations, extraterrestrials, and spiritual awakening. Joshua has studied famous crystal skulls like the Mitchell-Hedges Skull, written multiple books, including Journeys of the Crystal Skull Explorers, and appeared in documentaries, radio shows, and conferences worldwide. With over 4 decades of experience, Joshua brings fascinating insights into how these artifacts might store ancient knowledge, act as energy amplifiers, and even play a role in humanity's future evolution. Get ready for a deep dive into the mysteries, guys. Myths and mind-blowing discoveries surrounding the crystal skulls.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to welcome Joshua Shapiro. Joshua, good seeing you. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I see there's a delay in the video.
Took you by surprise a little bit. So, but welcome to the show, and we're very excited to have you on. So thank you. Michelle, did you want to talk about the first question we got here?
Okay,
No,
so
my pleasure. Always a great honor to talk about this.
Yeah, I think we have a bit of a delay. That's bizarre.
Well, let's see. So Joshua, what first got you interested in crystal skulls, and what was your most profound experience with which one?
So in 1983, I was traveling on faith through California, and I went to a metaphysical bookstore. I'm going to have to take off my headphones because it's interfering in my ability to concentrate on what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of a delay.
Okay, so Yeah. The problem is my microphone is on the headset. What can I do?
All right. So everybody, we're
Okay, I'll
gonna.
do my best.
Okay.
So 1983, I saw this amethyst crystal skull. And it was at a metaphysical bookstore in San Jose, California. And I wasn't expecting to see it. I knew the owner of the bookstore. She had copies of the first book I wrote, Journeys of an Incarnate Networker. And one day I went there and she showed me pictures of this amethyst crystal skull. It was really unbelievable. So I was able to come back to the store to actually see the crystal skull in person, because this is very important that you have the opportunity to see the skull in person. You can work with it and experience the energy and everything. And when I was able to do that, I I felt like I made a connection with it. It was like I felt over my right shoulder, and um, it started to talk with me telepathically through the pictures of it, and also through what I could see in my vision. And basically, the message I received the first time that I had with the photographs of it was that we, the crystal skulls, are returning to help humanity to create world peace. Now, Joshua, that you know, what are you going to do about it? So here I am 40 years later, and I'm still doing something about it, which is to share the powerful information that I've collected, as well as personal experiences that I've had with the skull. I would say the most powerful experience I've ever had has been the Mitchell-Hedges crystal skull, which is probably the most well-known and the famous one. Right after the Indiana Jones film was aired, which is back in 2015, I believe, I was in make contact with the guardian of the Mitchell-Hedges Skull, Bill Coleman, and he gave me permission to do a private meditation with the skull. And so what I did is I brought my MP3 player so I could have music with, and I had 3 of my personal crystal skulls, which unfortunately none of those are around me at the moment. And one of them right now is, so they're saying they can barely hear me.
Yeah. So, and one thing that might help you with the
Okay, does
headphones.
this sound a little bit better?
Oh, that
It's
sounds
closer.
a lot better.
Yeah. And one of the things that might help you with the delay is if you have YouTube running, muting YouTube in the background, just mute that and go with your sound through the StreamYard or live feed. So that might be causing the delay and the issue with your headphones. Just turn the YouTube sound off.
Where. Okay.
So that'll probably help you because you're getting
Is
the
there
sound.
like a YouTube thing that's for StreamYard? Because I see 2 StreamYard studios on my
Right.
computer.
So do you have YouTube up and running
Or
as
just
well?
turned off Facebook completely.
Okay. So you should just have StreamYard up and running. That would be the best thing.
Okay, I see 2 StreamYards right now. Let's see if this helped. Okay, this seemed to help because I don't hear the echo now.
Yeah.
Okay.
How does this sound?
No, I still hear myself delayed.
You might have another window. Oh. Well, he'll join us in a minute.
Okay,
as we work that out.
I'll talk about the fact that it was an amethyst skull.
Yeah.
That was my mom's birthstone. I love amethyst.
Oh, you know what? We should bring that up to him. We should bring that up
I
to
do.
him. And
I absolutely love that real true deep purple stone.
yeah. And the skull that he's talking about is absolutely fascinating. And I think he might have had multiple windows open playing the video, and he was getting the delay, if he had Facebook running and stuff as well. So we'll wait for him to come back. Let me see if I can find that skull that he is talking about. I have a picture somewhere. Looking. Okay. So he'll be back with us in a minute. So
Yeah, like mine is sapphire, but amethyst, just all of those different shades of purple.
Well, they say that the different crystals have different like power signatures and things. Okay, I've got it. So I want you guys to check this out. I think this is what he was talking about. Michelle, you tell me if I am wrong on this.
Josh is back too.
Okay. Let me just put that up for everybody so they can see what we are talking about. This one. That one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at those deep purples.
Yeah, so that's what he was talking about. He was talking about that crystal skull. And I see that he's back. So the amethyst, let's go ahead and stop sharing this and bring him back on. All right, let's see. Joshua, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I'm here, but I still see two things. Let's see. Unveiling.
So all you need is StreamYard open.
Okay, so do you have me now?
Yeah, we have you on.
All right, there's no echo anymore. Thank you, God. I love it.
Yeah, I think you might have had some extra windows open or something, or extra tabs.
I think in your message to me, you gave me two links and I hit them both. So now I have the one that we need. So please, I apologize to your listeners. I'm 69 years old and, I'm trying to do a lot of things at the same time and I can't do that anymore. I need to have helpers. If there's anyone out there that's not too busy and you want to help, contact me later, please.
Okay, Mark, if you're wearing socks, you can help him.
Yeah, Mark, as long as you're dressed, you can help him. So let's back up for a minute.
Sure.
So since we had that technical difficulty, Michelle had asked what was first got you interested in the crystal skulls and what was your most profound experience? And I had is it Ami? Is that how you pronounce it? Okay.
Yes. Ami was the first crystal skull.
Okay. So once again, would you mind talking about that for us?
Okay, so Ami was made out of amethyst, and they found it in Mexico, I believe. And there was a Mayan priest that was connected to it, and so he brought it to the United States. And the owners of this bookstore, well, the owner and her friend, they had access to the crystal skull for a period of time. So that's how I was able to actually see it and touch it. And what happens to me with these crystal skulls is when I meet them, they kind of like, what's the word I want to use? They integrate into my energy field. So like if I think about a me, I can feel a me with me, like I just got chills. If I think about the Mitchell-Hedges Skull, which was what I was talking about, where I had a very powerful experience with, I can kind of feel like it's around me. If I think about my personal skull, Portal de Luz, which in November, my friend took it to the beach and the ocean knocked him down and grabbed the skull. And right now it's still there in the water, which a friend of mine said it was because it was helping to do some healing in the water, but I can still talk to him. Okay. Even though I don't physically have him, I'm still able to talk to him. So I don't know. I guess this is a gift that came to me, in other lifetimes working with the skulls. And so, when I meet one, I think about it, then I can feel like a connection. It's the same. There's this translucent blue crystal skull, which I don't believe has been present on our world for an extremely long time. I think it's in another dimension. and I think about it, and I see it in my mind's eye here in the room. But you can't see it physically, but I feel its presence. So that's kind of what happened to me with Amid. This first one is the picture of it. I started to feel the connection with this skull, and then I actually met it a couple of weeks later and was able to touch it. And I just believe, like, um, we all have a certain experience. Yeah, that's the skull. We have a certain experience in certain times in your life where it triggers gifts, and it triggers what is your purpose, and why are you here. And so prior to meeting me, I was like the rest of us. Oh, crystal skulls, that's very interesting. I'll probably never see one or you know learn about it, but apparently this is part of what I agreed to do before I was born. And also with Katrina, who, by the way, is in spirit now, so she's over my right shoulder. And I wish to acknowledge her because, meeting her, she really helped tremendously in this work when we were together. And she's saying to me now, and so what's different? I'm still around. I'm still helping you. And
Yeah.
my answer is, you used to set up everything for us. Now I have to do all of that now too, at least until some other new lady comes into my life, which I've had visions of, but I have no clue when or how. Or maybe she may even be out there listening. I just don't know. But there's somebody that eventually will come to help with all of this, I'm sure. So,
Yeah. Speaking of Katrina, one of the questions I had is, how did you guys start the Crystal Skull Explorers? And then now what has your journey been like? You just gave us a little glimpse of, what happened with the skull being pulled into the water and things like that. Um, so if you would please.
sure. So, actually, Crystal Skull Explorers existed before I met Katrina. I started it with my third wife, who was Dutch, Daisy Rainbow. And so I was living with her in Holland, and we were known as the Crystal Skull Explorers, but then we went in a different direction. So the Crystal Skull Explorers always exist, no matter who it is. And like right now, we have Crystal Skull Explorers community. So there's over 300 people on Facebook that are part of this community. So essentially, they're all Crystal Skull Explorers too, meaning that they're individuals who have either their own personal crystal skulls or they have a great interest to know more about crystal skulls. But certainly when I met Katrina, which was back in 2009, I met her in Atlanta. And then until her untimely death in 2023, it was like you couldn't separate us. We were together all the time. And so I'm happy that she's still around, that I can feel her and still hear her. Um, but sometimes she's quiet because she can't interfere in my personal lessons or my projects or what I'm doing, but she's always there. So she's always helped me. And some of the skulls that I still have, like this dragon one, for example, was her crystal skull. And so I noticed too, like every time I have like a booth or I'm at a conference or I can share it, the ladies like this one. So I actually have a carver in India who makes dragon skulls. So I've been helping people to get them because I personally don't feel a strong connection with the dragon myself, but that doesn't negate it or its purpose. So there can be different shapes or sizes of what there is. So then there was another part of your question that you asked me, Wayne, with
Yeah, well, it was just basically how you and Katrina started this, which I think you kind of answered.
okay,
And what's your journey been like so far? And I want to tell you, once you finish answering that one, we have a lot of questions coming in from chat already,
okay,
and I want to throw some of those at you as well.
sure.
But when you're talking about how you can feel the skulls and things like that, this sounds like once you come in contact with some of them, like it's almost like a quantum entanglement. Like you guys are now like connected regardless of where the skull is. And I think we can talk a little bit about that here in a minute. So please continue.
Yeah, I guess that would be a correct way of saying it. That even if I'm not in the presence, like the amethyst skull, I do not know who is the private owner of that skull. I just know she's unhappy. She wants to be out with the people, but she's held privately. So yeah, it is kind of like quantum entanglement. Once I make the connection, now it doesn't happen with every single skull. I mean,
Sure.
if that was to happen, I would probably be in an insane asylum because I've seen hundreds of them. So it's like with certain ones, there's a connection to, like the Mitchell-Hedges Skull. I feel a strong connection with the British Museum crystal skull, which is another one that I actually got to touch and see in person. I think about it and I feel a connection to me. So it's not all of them, but it's some of them.
Yeah.
Um,
And Nathan asks right here, he says, can you sense what's around the skulls wherever they are located? And then he also says, can you talk to other people through them? He's very much a quantum guy. That's
right.
his thing. He's very much into uh the quantum entanglements of people and how we all meet and everything else. So
No, I would say no. Um, yeah. Okay. Katrina's saying each person has their own unique experience with the crystal skulls. So you know, whatever I'm describing is my unique experience. It may not exist for anyone else, or it may be similar to what other people have. So for me, when I have contact with the skull, it's usually not in reference to somebody else that's connected with the skull. Like, let's say, for example, with the Mitchell-Hedges skull, I've met the guardian, but I don't feel through the skull that I communicate with that guardian per se. It's mostly, okay, so the easiest way I could describe it is, um, let's take my lapis lazuli skull. This is called the rabbi. He has what looks like a yarmulke on the top of his head. Um, so when I work with a specific crystal skull, whether I'm holding it in its presence or I'm just thinking about it, there is a living consciousness that is connected for me to each crystal skull. Some of them are very talkative and, so I have a lot of communication. Some of them are quiet, but it has to do with when I think about it and remember what it feels like to be in their presence or what their energy feels like. That's when I have the connection. So it's mostly with the living consciousness that's associated with this goal, not with any individuals, etc. Um, and a lot of times, um, only a few of them might contact me and say, okay, we have a specific message or information. See, the thing that I trust, and maybe this is because I'm an Aries, I trust my own gifts and I have a lot of contact with spirit. Like, I've just got into this habit in the mornings, not every morning, but different mornings, where I put on my MP3 player and I have all this music that I really love. And while I'm listening to the music, and if somebody watched me what I'm doing, they would probably think I'm crazy because I'm like faking playing a guitar and singing, and it just depends how I'm inspired with it. But somehow this seems to open me up and I start getting messages. Like, for example, this morning, I'm involved here in Florida with the Republic for the United States of America, which is a group of people working to bring back the constitutional republic that we started with and to re-inhabit the land. And so I know the interim governor of Florida. We've become very good friends, and I got a message for him. So I called him this morning that just came to me because we have a little situation going on that I offer to help with. So this is just the way that it works for me. It's like once I know a skull, it's integrated with me, and I don't need to have it in my presence to be able to work with it. I just think about it, and I may get messages or feel its energy or whatever. Or sometimes they'll tell me, Joshua, you see that person over there? Could you please offer me to them because I need to help them and work with them? So different scenarios and situations come up. And I think what the key is, do you trust when you hear these messages? And I just trust it implicitly, you know.
okay.
Now, it doesn't mean that all the time when I'm asking for, like insights or guidance, that I'm going to get answers. Sometimes it just pops in, like this message to the interim governor. I wasn't expecting this, and it just popped in, and it was appropriate, and he acknowledged it. So it's kind of like going with the flow. So what Katrina is saying to me is to remind everyone we all have our own inner gifts. And as Mother Earth is getting higher and higher in her frequency, as we're going into this um, evolutionary state, some call it the golden age, I call it the golden dawn or the new dawn, whatever. All of our gifts are being reactivated now. And so the key is to really trust it. Like when you get an intuitive insight or you have a dream or you have a feeling or whatever, like even as you're asking me these questions, I didn't prepare myself how I'm going to answer. I'm just going with what comes and trusting that what I'm going to share and what I'm going to say, that there's going to be listeners out there that it's going to be helpful for them. And I do the same thing when I do my public talks too. I go the same way, and I always see in the public talks like 2 or 3 people that are going like this right with me because they totally get exactly what I'm telling them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that brings us to a perfect point to ask you, Queen Peachy Keen from our chat. She says, what is the frequency like when you bear them
hear them.
or hear them? Oh,
Yep.
okay. What is the frequency
okay.
like when you hear them? Do you get goosebumps or anything?
Well, first of all, I hear it in my mind's thinking voice. Sometimes, if it's a profound message, I could get a confirmation, which would be the goosebumps she talks about, or, shaking or something like that. But I just feel it. It's the same thing when I do a intuitive session for someone. So I let them hold one of the crystal skulls. I bring them to the session and say, okay, whatever one resonates for you, hold it. So then that skull is going to give them energy or insights or whatever. But then I'm sitting back and I'm experiencing what it's like to be them. And then I'm going like, oh, well, this feels like it's not totally in balance. So maybe I need to talk about that. Or, oh, wow, they have this gift. Maybe they don't even know they have the gift, because I kind of feel what it's like to be them. The only time I can't do that, and this happened to me recently, where there was a person who actually is called Joshua too, but he spells his name differently. I don't know who this guy is or, like where his soul comes from, but I couldn't read him at all. And he was like super advanced. Like he already saw our future. He was already saying when I was asking him, well, what do you see for the future? He said, it's already done. We're going towards peace and harmony. It's already complete, even though it hasn't physically manifest for us. So, so these things aren't necessarily connected with the crystal skulls, but they open doors. Like, once you're a guardian of a crystal skull, which means you don't own them, and also they pick us, we don't pick them. Then you just start going into situations and having amazing experiences. And for me as an Aries, this is very important because I get bored really easily. It's like I'm constantly looking, what other new experience could I have? Who could
Right.
I talk to? One of the things that I love to do, which is starting to happen now with great frequency on Facebook, which I don't know how this happens. Maybe it's because I'm so connected with all these spiritual and paranormal things. I have all these videos that show up, like in my Facebook, and some of them are extremely profound. Like, it could be about the extraterrestrials who have contacted us in the past and all these huge statues of them that they're starting to find in the ground. Could be about Tartarian advanced civilization that existed right before us, which I've seen absolute evidence and proof. Or it could be, that the world that we live in, and I know this is also true, whatever they taught us about the world we live in, it's completely not true. It is so far beyond what we've been taught. And all of this is going to start coming out pretty soon. And the other thing too that I'm working on, which I'm just waiting for the resources to show up, is the Center for the Advancement of Humanity, where I will study all of these subjects and I will have all these people working with me, and we're going to start putting out books and documentaries and everything. Because the essence of who I am is I want to know the truth about everything. So I'm ready for what I think is the truth to be tossed away for something new to come up at any moment as well.
Yeah.
But there are only two truths that I know that are always true. Everything that exists as one thing is part of Creator, and there is no time and space.
Interesting.
But this is on these other levels that we exist at. Here, in this reality, we think, oh, we have space and time, and we're separate people and things, but actually we're all really connected. So right now, as we're working for peace and harmony on the planet, it's to help our entire family of humanity, even the people that we don't personally like, that we can't even stand. They're still our brothers and sisters, so you just have to say, okay, let's agree to disagree then, not to go into argument.
Right.
That's what I try to do. I try to stay in the neutral and just be calm and accept everyone for who they are. But at the same time, as an Aries, if somebody was going to say, well, who are you really? I'm a catalyst to bring out the best in you. That's my job. If I could do that, that makes me happy for my family, like that's my challenge. Aries always needs a challenge. So my challenge is, what could I do or say that will empower this person to become more of who they are? So it doesn't always work, but sometimes it works so well, it's unbelievable. And then the
Yeah.
person is never the same again. So hopefully I'm doing that too, as I'm just spontaneously talking about things. Because if
No.
you ask me tomorrow what I'm talking about, I'm not going to remember any of it.
Well, you're probably, partially channeling a lot of this stuff as well, is what it seems like. And
Most
uh
likely.
yeah, so like, what do they call them? Downloads and things coming,
Yes.
and your connection to these skulls, it sounds like you have a lot of these abilities. And we'll talk a little bit about that coming up here. But there is one question I wanted to ask you that kind of jumped out at me, and there's the prophecy that says, so these prophecies of native, I believe they were Native Americans, that say 13 ancient crystal skulls will one day reunite and to reveal hidden wisdom. Do you think this is a real possibility, or is it more symbolic? And what do you
No,
think?
I believe, well, okay. So let's say it this way. Whether that number is 13 or not, most likely it is, because we are surrounded in other religions and situations with the idea of one surrounded by 12, which is 13. So a main crystal skull surrounded by 12 other ones surrounded. Um, but I believe that there are combinations of crystal skulls that exist, which we may know or may not know of yet, that work together, that were created as sets to work together. Now, related to the 1 in 12, in our first book, Mystery of the Crystal Skulls Revealed, that I did with Bone and Sereno, we had this guy, Michael. I can't remember his last name because I haven't touched this book for a while, but his first name was Michael. And he claimed that the people that live in the inner earth, that they all had a crystal skull and a crystal body, and they contain the DNA encoding of their race and all their wisdom and knowledge. And then there was a 13th that connected these 12 tribes. So that's just an example of one possibility. So regardless, whatever the number is, I would say that I could say with absolute certainty that there are a number of sets of skulls, and it's not just one set of 13. It could be multiple sets, like the Mayans would talk about 52 skulls. Well, could that be 4 sets of 13? They have one set of 13, and some other indigenous people have another set of 13. That's come to me. So I think the most important aspect of this is maybe not necessarily the number, but that there are these sets of skulls that have been used in the far past that could surface or manifest in a very important moment. Because the main message Ami gave to me is, we're returning to help humanity to create world peace. And so for me, that's part of the reason why I'm involved with the skulls. Is we have a world peace meditation on the 13th of every month at the 13th hour, 1 p.m. your local time, which any of the people watching this can participate. You don't need to have a crystal skull. You can work with a special gemstone that you have as well. We've been doing these world peace meditations. I think I started them, the concept of doing it on the 13th of each month came up around the Indiana Jones film, because I was in Italy when that film came out. I was with Bill Holman at a conference, and I got sick as soon as he brought out the Mitchell-Hedges Skull. I don't know why this happened, but I became sick. I had a fever, and I had to completely rest on the day that I spoke. And as an Aries, I said, nothing is going to prevent me from doing my presentation. And I was able to do it. The Mitchell-Hedges Skull was right around me while I was doing it. And as soon as I finished, I passed out. So
Wow.
that's just my thing. But after I had to stay in Italy, and the whole idea of doing these meditations came to me after that. So, so there seems to be something about 1 in 12 with the crystal skull. So is there a master set? This is what has been speculated by people. Very well could be, or could there be 4 of these sets? I don't know. Then the question comes up, like on the Sci-Fi Channel when the Indiana Jones film came out in 2008. They're going, okay, so the amethyst skull must be one of the 13, and the Mitchell-Hedges skull must be one of the 13, and the British crystal skull must be one of the 13, and Max must be one of the 13. And according to the information I keep hearing inside, I keep hearing none of them have come out yet. Their energy's too powerful. Humanity's not ready for them yet. But these other skulls are coming out, giving us an opportunity to work with the energy of them, to become accustomed to it. So that kind of makes sense. So sometimes I get, an insider message. The problem is when you get these messages from spirit, there's no way to prove them. You either trust them or you don't trust them.
Right.
And so I've just learned, when I get something and it's vibrating me and it's strong, I'm going for it. Okay. Because the worst case scenario is nothing will change. And the best case scenario is everything could change. So I'm always about everything could change. I'm going to go for it. Okay, but
Yeah.
that's being Aries. Not all the other astrological signs are willing to take that risk fast. Like with very little evidence, it feels right. I'm going for it. So
Yeah.
that's just me, and I like it that way too. I can't be any other way.
Well,
Somebody, yeah,
that's Aries. I mean, it's, and you keep on bringing that up. And when I'm looking at this number 13, what's coming to my head when you're saying the 1 and then 12, that sounds like the zodiac. And then add in the,
Christianity,
the uniting factor of bringing them in
right?
the
And
third.
Christianity, the Christ and the 12 apostles,
Yeah.
Judaism, the Levites and the 12 tribes of Israel. So constantly we have the 1 in 12. So why not with crystal skulls too?
Yeah, good point. Now, your book discusses the connection between crystal skulls and lost civilizations, and you started to hit on the Tataria. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? And there's also like Atlantis and Lemuria and all of these, ancient civilizations, which is very interesting. And I don't know how good the technology is, but what they discovered underneath the Pyramid of Khafre, in which was just released and talked about, if the technology is proven out that they are the 8 pillars that go down for you know almost 1,000 meters or 1 kilometer underground, and just amazing stuff if it turns out to be true. What evidence have you found to support that idea that the crystal skulls are connected to these lost civilizations in some way?
Well, Tartaria, I have not found a connection yet.
Okay.
This would be a very recent advanced civilization, only 200 some years ago, based on the information from the researchers that have done it. And actually, it was Katrina who brought up Tartaria to me. And at first, I go, "What are you talking about?" During
Yeah.
the Civil War, there was this crazy stuff going on. Well, so that's a whole show in itself to talk about that. Now, Atlantis most definitely had crystal skulls. Now, why do I say that? First of all, I have visions of it. I see myself as a priest in temples in Atlantis with crystal skulls, working with it. So again, it's an inner experience that cannot be proven. But when I go and I work with other people who are like me, connected with skulls, they also have this sensing and feeling in Atlantis that they definitely had crystal skulls. Like Sandra Bowen, who was the co-author of the first book I did with Nasserino, she saw the Mitchell-Hedges skull and called it Chatritra. And she was talking about that. Let's see if I can remember from the book what she said, how it was made. Right. Okay. So it was the actual bone skull of an Atlantean priestess who had great wisdom and knowledge, that when she died, they changed it into crystal. And that's how the Mitchell-Hedges skull came about. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it's an example of what could be possible. And the one thing that I'm pretty sure of is these ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we are today. part of the reason for that is, I'm sure, is because those that think they're in power, which are losing their power right now, have hidden from us tremendous advanced technologies, which are going to begin to come back, like the med beds and teleportation and what is it on Star Trek, where you want to eat something and it just produces it for you.
Oh, yeah, the food devices. Yeah,
Yeah,
the replicators or something like
replicator.
that.
They're talking about that all these technologies exist. And the same thing too, when you look at these huge pyramids, or like I've only been on one pyramid, one in Mexico City. And I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm going, there's no way even today that we could build something like this. You know, the way that the stone is so precisely connected. Or when I was in Peru at Sacsayhuaman, where they have these huge boulders with hardly any space between them. Come on, this isn't something that, you know, primitive people are going to be able to create. This was advanced civilizations in the past. And it's the same thing with Tartaria too. If you look at the churches and the cathedrals, which where they're building, there's no way even today that we can duplicate what we're seeing there. And they're giving us, oh, this is a church or whatever. No, they were healing centers, all of them. So,
Well, it's like the black boxes in Egypt that I was talking about yesterday. The uh, not Saqqara. What is the place, Michelle, with the black boxes? I can't think of it now, but they're perfectly polished. They're offset from each other across from hallways, and there's some evidence that well, there's some people that say that those black boxes were never tombs, just like you find at the top of the pyramids. They were resurrection, to resurrect and heal the kings of the time.
yeah.
And I see somebody says here, saw Shapiro present in Chicago, late 80s, had the honor of sitting with Skull Max in Anaheim, California. Grateful for both experiences. Very nice.
So, Sandra Lynn, if we met in Chicago, you should contact me when I give out my email address and we should talk. That was when I was with my Brazilian wife, is when I lived in Chicago. And it's like I had to work a regular job, but then on the weekends, we would do conferences. So I'm assuming she was at one of those conferences that was in Chicago. So fortunately now, being 69, going on 70 next month, my Social Security, with when I get to sell crystal skulls or do lectures or whatever, it's enough to be comfortable. So I have complete free time to do whatever it is that I want to do.
Yeah, the Serapeum, Nathan. So Joshua, the Serapeum is what I was trying to
Yeah.
remember. That they found a couple of dead bulls inside ones that were already open. So somebody put Apis bulls in some of the boxes, and they think, oh, that's what it was for. So,
right,
yeah,
exactly. So Katrina's saying now, even though, it sounds like, wow, these crystal skulls are fantastic and you have all these amazing experiences, pretty much what they're about is they're trying to bring us the opportunity to become the best that we can be, because there will be a time in the future we don't need to have the crystal skulls. I mean, if we all are divine children of God, the gifts that we have inside of ourselves is pretty amazing. And it's just like I say, you just have to trust it. And once they start releasing these med beds, we're going to have much more access to all of these gifts and things that we have inside of ourselves. So the crystal skulls right now for me is just another really powerful tool that's helping to remind people who we truly are and what we're capable of doing. And especially right now, it's about all of us working together to the best that we can be. I mean, we're not going to always agree on everything. That's why I like to say, when I find somebody who doesn't agree with me, okay, let's agree to disagree, because we're not supposed to agree on everything. And from the perspective of Creator wants to experience every conceivable reality that there is. And so, we're going to see life in a different way. So we should focus on what we do agree upon. So I think most of your listeners would agree, we're here. We chose to be born at this time to help to bring peace to this earth. And I can tell you that I've seen visions of the future through Katrina and through who I become in the future. He's one of my guides right now. and it's going to be awesome. We're going to be celebrating every day.
Yeah.
We'll be out in the street dancing and singing, and it won't be thought of like, who's these crazy people? No, other people are going to go, that looks cool. Let's go join them.
Yep. So you mentioned that the crystal skulls can be used for energy healing and meditation, and you talked
Yeah.
about that a little bit. Do you know exactly how they work and how can people use them in their daily lives?
Well, the key is they focus on what is your gift. They recognize, they can feel energetically what is your gift, and then they're going to work with you. Like for example, if you're a dreamer and you put a crystal skull next to you while you're sleeping, you may have some of the most profound dreams that you've ever had before. In my case, my first gift is more I sense and feel energy. So, like I have 3 skulls around me, I can feel their energy right now. It's like, they're going, Dad, we're trying to help you to give the best presentation here. Okay. So don't worry about it. Just be yourself, but we're giving you some extra energy. And I can feel they're all kind of like beaming here. So it just depends on what your gift is, I think. That's how they work with you the best. If you're a meditator, then take a crystal skull and meditate. For me, the most powerful meditation is when I'm playing the right music. Like when I was with the Mitchell-Hedges Skull, where I had the opportunity really to sit with it. It was right after the Indiana Jones film came out because I was interviewed by the Sci-Fi Channel with Bill Holman, the Guardian, at his house. And so after that, I was there, so I did a meditation with it. And when I put my music on, it was like I felt like I was in heaven with that skull. It was so peaceful and calm. An Aries could sit there for more than half an hour and meditate. Yes, I could have. I could have sat there all day and I would have been fine. But of course, we had to go eat lunch, so we had to go. But I had a good half an hour, and it was just like, it's good. I like this. It's fine. But normally, I can't do a meditation that long because it's too boring. It's like, okay, I've done that. What's next? It's
Yeah.
always what's next. What's the next adventure? What can we do to make everybody's lives better? It's kind of like I call it the Captain Kirk syndrome. Is this going to help? So that's how I am. I'm always looking at what could I do that I haven't done yet that might be able to help, or especially right now, I seem to be used to bringing people together, like Crystal Skull Explorer Community. I'm also doing soul family gatherings here. We just had one in Flagler Beach. We went to the beach to bring spiritual people together. Trying to help with the Republic in my county to bring people together. So that seems to be the gift that I'm being tapped on to, and also I keep seeing that when the new financial system comes, when I have the resources to build the Center for the Advancement of Humanity, I'm going to start to bring on board some really amazing projects, whether it's research or sharing information or working with other organizations, or it's also possible to some of the people listening right now, I may wind up hiring you for whatever it is that you love to do, because it's my 1-minute interview. Person comes in and says, I'm interested in your center. Great. Okay. Do you know what makes your heart sing? No, I don't. I'm sorry. You can't work for us. Oh, you do? What is it? We need that. You're hired. Don't you want to see my resume? I don't need to. Don't you love to do this? Yes. So if I have everybody at the center doing what they love to do, when we come into work and people come to visit us, nobody's going to want to leave because there's going to be such joy and happiness there. So that's what I hope to be an example of too, is, like a light worker who really likes what he's doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Is excited about what he's doing. All right. And that's what I see happening to all of us, is eventually we will get to do the jobs we really want to, not that we have to survive. So since the elite have stolen all this money from us, it's coming back. And when it comes back, money no longer will be an issue.
Yeah.
So that's what I see through my future self. So I'm putting that message out because I believe this year some major stuff is going to break through. It's already happening behind the scenes, but it's getting ready to break through. And especially if any of you see me start to build my center, which will be, I think, northeast of Tampa is where I keep feeling myself drawn toward, then you know that the resources have been released. So, and if it's released for me, it's going to eventually be released for everybody. So it's not just special people that are going to get this. So
Now, when some people report, and you were just talking about this feeling energy and things like that when they interact with the skulls, and then they seem to be connected. They get connected with them, that quantum, entanglement, what
mhm.
the skull is experiencing somewhere else, you might get a sense of that or be able to tap into that. Now, do you ever get, and I don't know where this question came from, but do you ever get like visions of what's going on around the skull, or is it just hearing? Is it feeling? Or is it visions as well?
So again, it depends on what's your gift. Apparently, I've had vision in many other lifetimes before, so this time I chose to go with feeling of energy and hear and telepathy. So those are my first two gifts. So that's how the skull is going to communicate. Sometimes I have visions, like for example, with the center. As we keep moving forward, I keep feeling myself walking inside the building, and I have no
Mhm.
idea where this building is or which building I'm going to select. Okay. But I'm walking inside the building. I'm getting a sensing of what it's going to be like. Sometimes for some projects in the future, I may get a vision of, seeing it. But when I get a vision, it's not like how Katrina got visions where she sees everything in color and full detail.
Okay.
For me, it's grayscale, and I have to feel the energy of kind of what I'm seeing to understand what I'm seeing because it's not that clear. There's been a couple of times, which I can't explain this, where for a few days, I will start seeing in my third eye. Like when I close my eyes normally to sleep, it's black, which is great because then I can go to sleep. All right. But when this happens to me, I start seeing scenes of people moving around and doing things, and I have no clue. What am I seeing? Where is this coming from? Why is this happening? So there's been about 3 or 4 times since I was with Katrina and I wasn't happy about this when it happened because I couldn't sleep because I'm watching things. I'm going, how do you expect me to sleep if I'm going to keep watching this stuff? It's like a movie, you know. Um, but I'm not strong in vision. Okay, but there are people who are strong in vision that if they work with the skull, they will get visions. So it's not. So that's why I said in the beginning, you can't compare my experiences to anybody else. This is just how it worked for me, and I've just
Yeah.
accepted it and I figured out how to work with it. So, and it's the same thing too with Katrina. I hear her and I feel her, and I sort of can see her, but I can't really see her. All
Right.
I know is she's dancing, she's happy, she's young, but I can't see it clearly. I just have that sensing because she had cancer before she passed away. She was in tremendous pain. And now it's like she's totally released, she's home, she loves helping all these people that she helps. She can be in several places simultaneously. So
Okay. Yeah.
but I always feel her like whenever I do an interview or a lecture or whatever, it's not like she's going to say, "Okay, buddy, you're out there on your own." No, I'm here, and I'll be whispering to you something sometimes, and I hear her, and I go, I'm talking with her. You can't see I'm talking with her, but I am. I hear her, and
Is
it's
is
really
there any particular skull that you have that helps you bring her a little bit closer to you now?
She claims, and I can't bring it out because it's in the car. We have a rose quartz skull that was created by
Ooh.
Skullless in China. That's like the Mitchell-Hedges skull. He has a movable jaw, but it's rose quartz. It's called Rosalita. And she told me that she will be able to work through Rosalita and that I should stop being a lazy bum and bring that skull out more. Okay, so like this conference I'm going to be at, which is called Spirit Fest next weekend, or, well, where are we? Yeah, next weekend because today's Sunday. Um, The first time that I was at this conference was last year. I did not bring Rosalita out, and I heard her tell me, "You must bring Rosalita out." Okay, it's very important because she doesn't really talk that much. She's more of a healing skill, but she told me that's the one I'm going to start working through. Is
Oh.
her. So even though the dragon skull was hers, and this one here, which is called Tachula, which is really, it's an old skull. It really isn't human shaped. It's kind of strange shape. But this one was also one that came to her too. but she told me that no, Rosalita, which is, a human-sized rose quartz skull, movable jaw, 2 pieces, that's the one that she's going to work through. So it will be interesting to me to see what happens when I bring Rosalita out at the conference. And I'm going to be watching. Are people drawn to her? What's going on? Just to see what happens. But that's the one she told me that she'll start working through. Plus, another thing that she does is when I sell these skulls that I get from the Indian carver, and a person, says, okay, I want you to help to activate them. The person has the choice. I ask for a slight fee to do it, or I keep it for an extra 7 days before I send them the skull. So the last thing I always do is I take this skull in my right hand. I have a picture of me with Katrina on my TV. I go over to that spot. I hold it up. I say, okay, Katrina, just go do what you're going to do. And I feel her come into me. And then she, shares special energy and things like that to help. So that's why she always says, there's no difference. I'm still here. I'm still helping you. Okay. And don't worry, even if you get a new life partner or wife or whatever relationship is, I'm not going to be jealous. What, are you crazy? I know you need to have somebody help you on the physical level. Okay. And she tells me, and you didn't do too good when I was around, but you're doing a lot better by yourself. Okay. Getting things done. And she was
Wow.
Capricorn. Your room isn't, she would say to me, your room is not in good shape, but that's you, where everything is. I don't know. I think I have a condition, I think, where I need to know where everything is in the room, even if it's messy. I know where it is. Okay. So when I need it, I can go to it. But if somebody stranger came in and go, you are such a slob, Joshua,
It's called
although,
organized chaos.
right, organized chaos. Although there's a possibility. See, I don't understand this. Okay, I've been trying to date, and it has been failing miserably. But there is a woman I met on a dating service, and I think she may come and visit me. So I've started cleaning up my room now in preparation, because I don't want her come in the door of my room and go, "This place is a mess. I'm going back home." Because she lives
Yeah.
like 2 hours away. She's in Jacksonville. So I don't know. Anyway, the key is, as you can see, is you have to have fun in life. So
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, have fun. Always have something to look forward to. Like today, I got to go to the beach. So I was with my brother, spiritual brother John, and then these 2 ladies said, "Oh, you warmed the space up," and I heard you should ask them if they'll let you sit with them so you could talk to them. So I got to do that. So I think new things are getting ready to happen to me. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. So
It sounds like it. Just real quick, I want to acknowledge that we had a super chat come in, or a super sticker from Welcome to the Show for 0.99 quid, right? So from England. So thank you very much. Welcome to the show. And we see that we've had Leah show up, and we've also had Metalhead show up. Good seeing you guys in chat.
Jeff up north has
Yep.
joined us.
Yep, Jeff from up north is with us. So thank you. And I did put a link to your website, Joshua, in the show description, because we are having some people ask about how they could learn more about crystal skulls. And you have, and you sent it to me, a free ebook that you and oh geez, why
Katrina,
did Katrina put out?
right,
And it's fascinating. It's a great book. It's free. Do you want to tell people where they can find that?
right. So please, people, do me a favor. Don't be afraid to contact me and think, "Oh, Josh was so busy." I'm not so busy during the week, you know. So it's okay for you to email me if you have other questions, or you want recommendations, or maybe you want me to help you get your own skull. Whatever it is, you can ask me. But to get the free ebook, the easiest way is just send me an email, crystalskullexplorers@gmail.com. And that's plural, crystalskullexplorers@gmail.com. But remember, I don't just have a crystal skull book. I have a free ebook on Tartaria, on flat earth. I have Argus is the name I become in the future. He communicated with me. I have a book where are some of his communications I received when I was in Brazil, which is a great place because it has a really powerful energy there, and it was like activating my gifts. So I can send you a list of 9 ebooks, 7 which I put together that are all free. Like when COVID came and we all couldn't travel, I said, okay, I'm going to work on free ebooks. I got to do something to help get information out.
Yeah.
So you should feel free. crystalskullexplorers@gmail.com. Write to me. I'll send you a list of all the books. Contact me. Maybe we need to do a Zoom call. I talk to people all the time. There is an interesting conference I'm going to be at in July. If you're in Florida in the Tampa area, it's called Disclosure Now. I'm going to be leading a crystal skull panel there. And there's 2 individuals that have very old crystal skulls I've never seen before that are going to have amazing things to talk about. So that might be of interest. Probably he'll also have a way to broadcast it online, I would assume, as well. So it's interesting. But for the free ebook, crystalskullexplorers@gmail.com.
And I have that email address flashed up there for you guys running along the ticker.
Right,
so
right.
It's right there as well. And I'll put that in the show description so you guys can have easy access to it after we're done here.
Right.
So we are Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters. And Michelle and I started this after her and I had an experience with a UFO, and we were kind of compelled and felt that we should start a show like this and talk to all the people that we can. Was kind of like our experience and kind of collecting stories and learning more about the phenomenon. So I would be really amiss if I didn't ask you about the connections that you may think or you may have discovered of the skulls to extraterrestrials. What do you think is the connection between the crystal skulls and something like ETs, non-human intelligences, or whatever's visiting us that we now have the government saying, okay, there are things going on, we're going to call them UAPs now. So give us your lowdown. What do you think?
The very advanced ones were gifts from the gods.
Okay.
That's what I believe. I believe that possibly they brought to humanity as tools for helping us to awaken to our divinity. And then there were different races that saw them and decided to make duplicates of them, and they weren't as advanced. Like the British Museum crystal skull looks a lot like the Mitchell-Hedges skull, but energetically, it's not the same, So I think it was an attempt to duplicate it. So I think that they brought them as gifts to humanity is what makes the most sense to me. That's the simplest explanation. Um, and and those skulls forever changed humanity too, because when they came to these civilizations, they were empowering them to become greater than they were. That's the whole point of what I see the crystal skulls is they empower us to become the best that we can be. So now people need to understand too that over the years, because they were seen as power tools, then we had like different priests and things like that that go, we're not controlling that, so we're gonna do something to come up with our own skulls, and we're going to control the energy and power. So they become power tools that, like in Atlantis, probably there was, some fighting over, who gets the skull. Like the same thing happened with the Atlantean crystal ball after Dr. Brown died. There were all these people that were competing who's going to get it. And in the end, the ball blew up. It was in Mount Shasta with some skulls around it, and it just blew up. So fortunately, I had a chance to see it, and the guardian at that time handed me the ball in my right hand, and its energy still in my right hand. So, so I feel blessed by that. I didn't know why he put it there because he didn't like me too much. Like he said, don't have your crystal skulls around. I don't want it to interfere in the energy. And I'm going like, he has no clue what he's talking about. The skulls aren't going to interfere with the energy of that ball. But anyway, he had the ball in water. This is just my Aries thing. You can't tell me no. So I thought, oh, he had the ball in that plastic tub of water. So before they emptied it, I went to the owners of the center where he's at and said, could I put the crystal skulls in the water, before you empty it? So, and I also had one in my pocket, which he didn't know, like when I was holding it. So it probably connected with it too. So, we have access to these tools to have experiences. So there shouldn't be somebody telling you, oh, well, you're limited. No, we're not limited. We're unlimited beings. Anything you can imagine, you can only imagine it because it already exists somewhere in the universe. So that's what I heard one time, and I think that's true. So
Yep. It's just like the word impossible. It's like everything is impossible until it becomes possible. The Wright brothers flying, that was impossible. The internet, that was impossible. Nuclear bombs, oh, that's impossible. So you're right when it comes to that. If you do what you love and you want to pursue something, doors will open for you and things will become possible. So I'm right there with you. Um, since you are also an explorer and kind of a researcher into UFOs and paranormal, have you ever noticed an increase in UFO sightings around places where crystal skulls were either present or were found?
I haven't noticed any increase. Okay.
Okay.
What I've noticed is if there are energy vortexes that exist in those sacred locations, then that's a portal for the UFOs to come through. Okay, so I'm going to throw something out there which I can't verify, but Katrina says, just go for it. Just do it. That's how you are anyway. So let's see, how do I want to say this? So the UFOs that are showing up, they're not coming from outer space. They're coming through dimensional doors into our reality, more so. So, now you may be guided if you have a crystal skull, which I have, to go to sacred places, like Sedona, Mount Shasta, Peru. Sometimes this happens where I go, oh, I get to go. And then all my kids talk to me and say, Dad, please take us with you. We want those energies. We want to experience that. So, it's not an easy job being a crystal skull guardian if you're
Yeah.
listening to what they're asking you to do all the time, and especially if you have like 30 of them, which, because I have this small room, I can't keep them all out, so maybe half of them stay out.
Yeah.
So
Well, we got a question from somebody. It's welcome to the show. And he says, any thoughts? And I had thought about this as well. I have it in my notes, but any thoughts on knowledge being stored in skulls like hard drives? And
it
you
is.
had mentioned something about coding DNA of humans inside of them. And we
Yeah.
use them in our hard drives and
Yeah.
solid state drives right now. So what do
It-
you think?
I just gave a thumbs up. That's
Yeah.
exactly how it is. They are storing information inside of them like a hard drive. First of all, a lot of the skulls are made out of quartz crystal. What are our computers use? Quartz crystal. So,
Yep.
like one time I remember, because we had a lady from Microsoft that came when Katrina and I did our one Peru spiritual tour after I first met her. And so she was able to get me into Microsoft, and I talked to, not like, the president or anything, but some of the people working there. And I said, you guys work with the modern computer, but I think the crystal skulls were the ancient computers. So I'm expecting that some of these very, very old skulls, that when we learn how to link into them, they're going to have like amazing knowledge and information inside of them. So exactly what this person said, it's true. That's a really good way to express what they are. They are storage devices.
Well, have you ever seen those pictures of miners like in Mexico and they go into these mines that go down into these cave systems that are just huge and they have huge crystals like, and all I can think of is the earth is just a gigantic solid state hard drive.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it could be storing, those crystals can be storing everything there is to know about the earth while we're running around on top of them, releasing energy and burying people in
Yeah.
the ground. And it could explain a lot when it comes to the paranormal and things like that. What are your thoughts about like these huge, I mean, they're megalithic. I mean, they're ridiculous sizes of quartz crystals in these mines and stuff all over the place.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Definitely from Mother Earth could be these very advanced civilizations that were working with these huge crystals. Um, the only other thought that I ever had was something said, do you really believe that the crystals originated on the Earth? I have a sensing that these quartz crystals, a long time ago, it was brought here. Okay, I don't know why I feel that way, but that thought has come to me that maybe they were gifts that were brought here again to help to uplift the energy of the earth, to help uplift the energy of humanity. Um, so there's something about quartz crystal that I think is a little bit different than other type of gemstone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, here's a picture of just a small area. Nasia's crystal cave captivates chemists. Look at, well, this says giant gypsum crystals reveal their secrets. But there are caves like this underground that they've found that are full of quartz. And quartz is energetic, man. I mean, that is, go in your bathroom and take 2 quartz crystals, take them, fill up a bathtub with water, and then strike those crystals, and you'll release the piezoelectricity that's stored within those crystals. You'll light up that bathroom like sparks. It's fascinating. But there you go. This is some of the stuff. Look at the size of these things. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, we're on an energetic planet. I mean, we've just lost that technology of how to tap into that. And I think that's what we're starting to get back. And I think you kind of alluded to that already. I don't know. Did you want to comment on that?
no, I think you did a great job, Wayne.
Okay.
I'm not a quartz crystal expert. Okay. I
Yeah.
know the skulls, how they work energetically because of the experiences I have. But when people start talking about these materials and everything, this is not my area. I just honor and respect everything from Mother Earth, and I know that all these gemstones each have their own properties that can help us. So
Yeah.
we each are drawn to certain gemstones. Like I like lapis lazuli and what's the other one?
I love lapis. Yeah.
Yeah, lapis lazuli and obsidian.
Yeah,
Right.
those are my 2 favorite. And Michelle, what was yours? Well, your mother's birthstone, right?
Well, amethyst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep. So, well, we're going to start wrapping this up, and some quick questions for you about that. So, anything new, exciting coming up in the research of crystal skulls? Anything new on the horizon, or anything recently pop up?
Well, the only thing that I'm seeing that is kind of interesting is these very old skulls are coming out of the ground in Mexico. And like these 2 persons that are going to be on the panel, I've never seen, and they have like aliens that are drawn on the surface of the skull. Because I have seen this in Mexico where there are some skulls that actually have drawings on the surface of it. We're not totally sure how did they do that or who did that or where did it come from, but it seems like more and more of that is starting to come out now. So that would definitely show much stronger proof and evidence of extraterrestrial contact with the skulls if you're going to see an alien being drawn on its surface. So there is one of the panelists that I saw that. So that's kind of interesting. For me, I'm kind of in a waiting mode for my center to begin so that we can start to have access to resources to do research in any direction that we want to go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, just as an individual, I just have to work with whatever tools I have. And I'm not going to use the word limited, but, I'm just one person and I just do the best I can with what I have. But I see that we will be expanding. So yeah, it's kind of like this. We're seeing these either skeletons of aliens that are coming out, or it has to do with skulls too. Like some of the skulls even look like alien skulls.
Yeah.
Like we saw in the Indiana Jones film where they had a crystal skull. They had the elongated back of the head. I think in
Yep.
Peru they have bone skulls where they have elongated back of the head too.
Yeah, the Paracus, I think is what they call them. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So
this is from right here. This was from 2012. This is Live Science, and
okay,
alien-like skulls excavated in Mexico. They say it's about 1,000-year-old cemetery, and
right,
they find these alien-like shapes, and
right.
the practice of deforming skulls. Why would we decide to even 1,000 or 2,000 years ago? Why were we as people, and why were these people trying to make their heads look like an alien head unless they had seen and interacted with some type of creature, extraterrestrial, something that made them like a cargo cult? They're trying to replicate and do what they're seeing from their gods or the sky people, whatever they decide to call them.
Hmm. Yeah. No, there's so much amazing new histories and understanding that's getting ready to come out. People are going to
Yeah.
be amazed, and they may be in shock too when they start learning about some of these things coming. That's part of the reason that I think I've been inspired to make our center, is to have a smooth transition as we go from where what we thought was true to what really is true, and the
Yeah.
true history. And especially when we start learning that there's all kinds of other intelligent beings that are in our realm that we're in also, that are going to start showing up as well. So they live here, and we've just not been not able to see them or prevented from seeing them. So it's
Yeah.
like there's more and more pictures coming out of Antarctica showing these very tall walls there. But what's beyond those walls, they don't want you to see.
Yeah.
So, so a lot of stuff is getting ready to come out, and I'm sure too, as the crystal skulls have stored what happens around them, that there's amazing histories inside when we figure out how to connect with them, whether there'll be some kind of, like I keep seeing there's some kind of device that attaches itself to a skull, and maybe this is future, where all of a sudden a person shows up and says, I've been waiting for you to connect to the skull so I could give you all this information I have in here, like an interactive visual conversation with the person that's talking to you and is recorded inside the skull. So,
Hey, right now, I would not put that, out there in woo woo land. I mean, anything is possible at this point.
right.
And especially look at how we use crystals, like we were just talking about with technology and everything.
Mhm.
All right. So, last question for you. And everybody, just so that you can reach out to Joshua. It is Crystal Skull Explorers with an S at gmail.com. So if you want to reach out, ask him about getting crystal skulls, about his ebooks and everything, he's more than happy to receive your emails and work with you. But last question is, what is next for you in the Crystal Skull Explorers? Are there any upcoming projects? You hinted to your center that you want to get going, but any new books or expeditions that people should know about?
At this point in time, my focus is to create not only the main center here in Florida, but I've already talked to my friend who I work with. She's one of the counselors with me for the Crystal Skull Explorer community, to start a sister center in Scotland. Like that would be the first one.
Oh,
So
okay.
I really believe that once I can get my center started, which isn't just on crystal skulls, it's going to cover everything, but we will have a department for it, that then I'll be able to say, Wayne and Michelle, you won't believe what's the next project that we're going to be doing. It's going to
Well,
be so amazing. Now, I don't
you
even know what
make
it is.
sure you contact us so we can get you on here to talk about it.
Right. Now, I don't know what they're going to be yet, but I'm telling you, my sensing and feeling about it is going to be so unbelievable, because, like for example, I meet these guys at this conference, and they have these kind of crystal skulls with ET energy and everything, which they're doing
Yeah.
research. But what happens if I have access to all these resources? They're probably going to go, yeah, Joshua, we want to see what happens. And, it could be we figure out how to have the skulls talk to us and really tell us what's inside that they have, or maybe they project out their history or something like that. I don't know. This has always happened to me when I had access to, let's say, different electronic devices where I can measure frequencies of energy. We would put people with skulls like meridian stress systems we would work with and see how does the energy of the skull affect the meridian energy in the body. And it was very interesting watching what was going on with that. And I tried to give it to the Sci-Fi Channel when they interviewed me, but they didn't understand what I was trying to explain to them from the research. So, but
Yeah.
I expect like we'll do things like that, or even this one skull that the ocean claimed. There was one time we worked with a what is it called? It works like a dowsing rod, except it has numbers on it. I can't think of the name of it. It's named after the inventor of it, where you push it at the object and it flips and you look at the reading. So they did this reading on Portal de Luz. This is a skull that's in the ocean right now helping. And the teacher teaching them, it's called a Leckyer antenna. That's what it's called.
Okay.
So the teacher of it was going, look, this is a stone. Nothing's going to happen. But his practitioners were pushing at it, and it came back with the frequencies of energy of the 5 human senses. But this was a crystal skull that was mirroring this. So I'm just using that as an example of like what could happen when we have access to all the equipment that we want, all the experts that we want, and we start working with their energy and frequencies and everything. I have no clue what's going to happen, but I think it's going to be earth-shaking, either the energies we're going to find or the wisdom and knowledge that's encoded inside of them. So I'm just waiting for my center. Then I'm unleashed. Okay, I'm waiting to be unleashed. All right, because right
Awesome.
now I'm not that busy. Please, God, unleash me. Get me involved in more projects. Bring me with the right people.
Well, be careful what you manifest.
No, it's okay. If I manifest that, I'll be a happy guy.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Joshua, this has been awesome, and we're very happy to have you on. And once again, thank you to Mark Eddy for connecting us and having you come on the show. And any new developments or anything, you make sure you contact us and let us know, and we'll definitely bring you back on. But once again, everybody, if you wish to reach out and contact Joshua, it is crystalskullexplorers@gmail.com. And yes, Diane, thank you for being a member for 18 months. And she says, always have awesome guests. Yes, we do. And we love them all. So Joshua, with that being said, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. Get some rest, and don't forget to get that skull out of the car so you don't get yelled at anymore.
Rosalita out of the car.
Yes.
Oh, all the scouts in the car will be at the conference, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm just tired of going up and down the stairs here, bringing them, because when you have like 15, 20 of them, it's a little bit of weight, and I'm all right, but I'm not as strong as I used to be. So,
yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Joshua, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
All right, Michelle, that was awesome. I knew this was going to be a good conversation. I absolutely love that.
I know. I put it in chat. I can picture that wellness center in Lake Tahoe in Heavenly Village that we had shopped at before. And I want to go back in there to see. I know that they had crystals. I want to see if they have crystal skulls.
Yeah.
So that might be my one artifact that I bring back from California.
Tahoe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, would you be surprised if I told you I had a couple small crystal skulls down in the basement?
That would not surprise me.
Okay. Well, I do. I'll show them to you later. I don't think I've ever showed them to you. So I kept them secret. I
have crystals. I just don't have a crystal skull.
Well, I mean, I deal with, geology and stuff all the time. That's my profession. I absolutely love crystals, and obsidian and
Obsidian's like a blue, isn't it?
No, it's black. Well,
Is it black?
yeah.
No, there's a dark blue
there,
too.
I believe so, but you're talking to somebody who's colorblind. So if it's dark anything,
Yeah,
it's black,
I've seen it as a dark blue, and then I know lapis is a dark blue too.
Well, obsidian is volcanic glass. It is lava that's cooled so quickly that the atomic structures do not get to arrange themselves, and so it just becomes black glass. And the natives, way back when, would make arrowheads, and which I have some down in the basement as well. Right, they would make arrowheads and knives. They could sharpen it and was sharp as glass, and that's how they hunt it with them.
I'm just wondering if it probably the way that it's processed.
Yeah, well, you take a rock and you chip away at it. When you get really good at learning how it fractures, it's awesome. Diane says, I have a big skull that is full of marbles. Yeah, me too. Michelle does too. She's got a big head. Big skull full of marbles. So, all right. Well, anyways, everybody, thank you. This has been a great show. We really appreciate Joshua coming on. Mark, Eddie, thank you for connecting us with some great guests. And to all of you, we are indebted to you. It is because of you that we do this show. And we love each and every one of you. Even Straw Dog out there. We see you. So, Michelle, with that being said, what do you think?
Keep your eyes to that sky, folks.
Keep your eyes to that sky
and to the ground, because we never know.
Yeah, and to Egypt. Let's keep our eyes on Egypt and what's going on there. I mean,
that is some crazy stuff.
It is. It's crazy, and it's going to change the world one way or the other. So,
and every 7th grade social studies teacher right now
is freaking out.
their units on Egypt are done for.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this is all stuff that our community already knows. We've been saying it forever, and it's about time that it comes out. So, everybody, it's about time for us to leave. So thank you once again, and we will see you soon. And keep your eyes, like Michelle said, to that sky. And we'll see you next week with Brothers of the Arcane. Later.